Here's a brief but annoying message to let you know that you could have first heard this episode 9 months ago if you were a subscriber to our Iron Filing Society Patreon offering.
For the price of a pint and a St Clement's each month, you can get up to 4 episodes a week, 9 months before the rest of the world gets them. Early access to regular episodes, lots of other marvellous benefits, and there's absolutely no adverts or brief but annoying messages like this that will get right on your ticks.
Find out more and subscribe now at tftimemachine.com/ironfilings.
Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go, this is it!
This is Top Flight Tune Machine. I am Andy Hotbody Dawson. Pow, pow, pow.
I'm Sam Nifty Delaney, so what?
Welcome along, it's another Tune Machine. The random pop blob has been reactivated in this room and it's about to present us with a chart that we have to assess. So over now to the random pop blob to see what it is that we're going to be looking at.
25th of June, the year 2000.
Christ almighty. The year 2000. Which
Doesn't
is
really doesn't sound very
God, I mean,
appetising, does it?
It's the end of the parameters that we present ourselves with on this thing. We go 1970 to 2000, and
the later noughties. Like I've been thinking a lot recently about how the noughties were a really superb decade for music, but it didn't sort of kick in the mainstream in the charts until about 2 years after this.
Yeah, well,
2000, 2001,
expand
pretty shit. Like 99, 2001, I think of that era as pretty shit music. Yeah. And then later in the noughties, it became good, I mean, I'll tell you what, I've been listening, this is irrelevant to this, but talking of noughties albums, I've been revisiting a lot of them and listening to them in full. And I've gone for a phase this summer. I could not stop listening to Justified, the Justin Timberlake album.
Oh, that's a great album.
A fucking banger. And I loved it at the time, but I just hadn't fucking listened to it in years. And my daughter and her mates are really into like noughties R&B, a little bit 90s, right, but mostly noughties R&B, like Neptunes and all that sort of stuff. And so I think she listened to it, and I was like, fucking hell, this is a fucking classic album. So the noughties are good, but this part of the noughties was a bit shit.
I think that the kids these days don't listen to very much new music. They're delving right back into all the old stuff. My kids are the same. Yeah,
they love noughties R&B, and they also love some rock music, such as both my kids like Oasis and Arctic Monkeys, and recently the Strokes as well. So wow, very much of that era seems to be the stuff they're all into.
Okay. Well, I mean, all we can do, I guess, is just do a countdown of this chart and just see if it brings anything up.
I'm scanning through this chart, right? And I'll be honest, I barely fucking recognise the names of any of the acts. Or
the ones I recognise the most are the reissues that have gone back on the chart again. Like
there's the odd act I know. There's about 3 or 4 acts I know and quite like, but the songs I don't remember at all. So they're obviously not going through their richest period of creativity. And I mean, number 40, Jay-Z with Big Pimpin'. Sorry, I'm giving too much away. We haven't done our countdown yet.
We'll do the countdown then and just... Here we go. Here comes the top fucking 40 again. It's down at number 40. It's Big Pimpin' by Jay-Z. I'd just like to say as well that the people behind the fucking chart website have changed their... oh, no, they haven't. I'm apologising. I thought they stopped putting where it was last week, but it's over the other side now, to the right-hand side.
Well, why did they have to mess with the layout? It was a perfectly good layout. It's just more wokery. Everything has to be changed and modernised. Why?
Is this how they do it in Syria? For the charts? Is that for the illegal immigrants when they come in so they feel familiar? When they've got their free mobile phones and their free popcorn in their hands that they all get when they come through the fucking turnstiles.
And of course, if you object to it, then you'll be cancelled, won't you? If you object to them changing the layout, that's it. Your career's over. Your persona non gratis.
I refuse to be cancelled. Now what?
They've tried to cancel me countless times, but I just keep coming back. I won't allow it. And plus, I have insurance against it. I'm insured up the arse against cancellation.
Now, that's a different insurance, mate.
If they cancel me, in actual fact, it works out I benefit. I get quite a large payout.
I get 400 grand.
Imagine life insurance, but you don't have to die first. That's what cancellation insurance is like,
I get 400 grand. It pays off the barn conversion mortgage, and I'm sitting pretty for the rest of my days.
And I can still upgrade the Lexus every 3 years whenever they release the new model.
Anyway, Big
right,
Pimpin's
let's grind
down
our
11.
way through this fucking huge vat of pop porridge that
Big
is the
Pimpin's
chart.
down 11 places, fact fans.
Oh, and by the way, for any of you not in the know with American street talk, pimping is a word for a man who elicits sex slavery. That's literally what he's singing about, and that's acceptable in today's chart, is it? I ask you.
I don't think so. The fact that he's doing it big as well means he's got on it in an industrial scale.
To translate,
Disgusting.
this song, if it was British, would be called Jeremy Zefferman rather than Jay-Z, and his song would be called Industrial Scale Sex Slavery Operation.
You wouldn't stand for it, would you?
At number 39, Jerusalem. Lovely part of the world. Went there recently. Great food. Tabbouleh. Have you ever had a tabbouleh? It's a type of
what you're talking about.
A grain salad. Olives, a little bit of lemon juice. Delicious stuff. Anyway, it's by an act called Fat Les 2000.
Well, best of luck to Les. I don't know who he is or what he wants, but I hope he enjoys his time in Jerusalem. Down 21 places to number 38, which is a fucking disgrace. Not even trying to be in the chart. Richard Ashcroft says he's got money to burn. Well, if his fucking singles are only getting to number 17, then he's not going to have money to burn for much longer. The track is cancelled.
He's the creep who was in a band called The Verves.
I remember that fucker.
I don't know if you remember him in the pop video for their hit Bittersweet Symphony. And he was walking down the road in an oversized leather jacket without any notion of his own spatial awareness or of other pedestrians, some of whom may have been lame, may have been elderly. He was bashing into all of them, caterwauling as he went along. It was antisocial. It was aggressive. And yet he was rewarded with a number one single. And for me, that was everything that was wrong with the Britpop era.
I remember he came in to be interviewed by us a few years ago, and he refused to look us in the eye or shake us by the hand. So I think you remember we refused to take part of the interview. There was a 15-minute standoff.
They did broadcast it, and it was quite popular.
We did eventually have to go back in there and do the interview. Management stepped in and pointed out one or two terms and conditions that we were obliged to adhere to. But he's a
I look
cunt.
back on that whole incident very fondly, for what it's worth.
Well, good for you. What's next?
37 is a chap called Cisco. Cisco, don't know if it's got anything to do with Status Quo. Maybe they've changed their name. Anything's possible in this day and age.
Maybe.
He's done a song called Thong Song.
God.
Don't know if he's got a lisp, or one half of the band's got a lisp and the other hasn't. I don't know, but I haven't listened to the song, nor do I intend to. As is the case, I'll say now in advance so I don't have to keep saying it, with most songs in this chart. As a chart DJ, I've officially given up listening to any of the songs in the charts.
I've got absolutely no interest whatsoever in songs about human underwear. Number 36, Standing Still, is Coco versus Fragma. And they're performing, I guess, something called Talker's Miracle. It might as well just be fucking, I don't know, Swahili, as far as I'm concerned. And Coco versus Fragma, who's going to win in that? Nobody. We're all losers.
I'm sure they've got their own charts in Swahili. I'm sure the people there find them perfectly engaging and entertaining.
Yeah,
and that's fine with me. But just keep it out of our chart is all I say. A chap called Stephen Gately, lovely, smart, respectful young man, came in with his pals a few months ago. They're either called Boyzone or Westlife, I forget which.
One of those two, Irish.
Pleasant Irish men, God-fearing. He's gone out on his own. God help him. It's a new beginning / bright eyes. And I tell you what, he was bright-eyed. Gorgeous eyes, you could get lost in them, in all honesty.
Yep, very beguiling young man. I found myself wanting to spend a lot more time in his company. Down 11 places at number 34, Travis, and they are coming around. Well, I've just seen a picture of them, and don't come around unless you're going to clean the fucking windows.
If they were coming around my house, I'd turn off all the lights, draw the curtains, and hide under the fucking sofa till they'd fucked off. At number 33, Riddle by En Vogue, a group of young ladies from America. All dark-skinned, lovely, beautiful, sweet-smelling, as I recall when they were in the studio. Also, very God-fearing. They're welcome back here anytime. But don't speak in riddles, ladies. I'm more straightforward than that. You're in England now. Say what you see.
That's how things get complicated. Things get misunderstood. And eventually complaints are made. Say what you want. Be upfront, be forward. Don't dilly-dally with any riddles.
I'm happy to take you to the new All Bar One, which is sort of like a fashion pub that they've started to pop up all over London and certain other metropolitan conurbations in the UK. I think you'd like it. They do food. They do a range of wines, believe it or not. And I'm happy to take any of you out to one, but there will have to be a signed contract written in plain English and not in riddles before we go absolutely anywhere together.
That offer is open to any or all of the members of En Vogue.
I do have an order that I have preference that shall remain secret for now unless you explicitly ask to see it in order to make a decision on which of you will join me. I'm happy. There's 5 of you. I'd be perfectly happy if it came to it for me to end up with my number 5, 5th choice, if you will. No problem.
No pressure.
But no pressure at all. But obviously, fingers crossed, number 1's up for it. up for All Bar One, I mean. Seriously, ladies, you're going to love the place.
Lots of chrome and bright lights. Wonderful. In at number 32, a re-entry into the charts. It's another standoff. DJ Sandy versus House Trap. I don't think these are their real names.
A confrontation these days. The Cold War's over.
I don't think these are their real names. I mean, DJ Sandy's real name is probably something like John Sanderson. And as for House Trap, well, I don't know, that's probably Lisa Gillespie or something. Anyway, it's called Overdrive, and it's at number 32.
I don't see why all this versus business. The Cold War's over. And I, for one, sat here in the year 2000, confidently predict the end of history, the end of all conflict, or any kind of international hoo-ha whatsoever. Believe me, mate, we stand on the verge of eternal peace.
We do. Russia's back on board. It's great to see. Yeah. Humanity can live as one, finally.
The Chinese are in their fucking box, and as for the Middle East, don't worry about them. They've all come round to our way of thinking. Right, number 31, Billy Piper with Day and Night. Young lady believes she's stepping out with that absolute arsehole Evans. Who took the breakfast show that was once mine.
I'm not sure what's going on there, but there is a calamitous age difference between the two. He's about 38, she's 16. Somebody needs to be ringing social services, I think, on that one.
Evans, he's not a DJ. The man's a clown.
Anyway, number 30, it's Khalees, and she's promising some good stuff.
It's a lovely noise, mate, but try to keep a lid on it.
Animalistic.
Try to keep a lid on it. Number 29, it's Sex Bomb by our old pal Tom Jones, who's teamed up, and this is really a new low for old Tom, once billed as Blighty's answer to Elvis himself, the king, now reduced to performing with some sort of circus act called Moose Tea.
Some kind of mouse, is it?
Maybe it's a mouse. I don't know. Maybe he likes. Maybe it's a type of tea. Maybe it's this hair mousse that you hear so many of the young chaps are using nowadays.
I know that you can get cat shit made into coffee, so perhaps this is tea that's been made from mouse shit. Not sure.
Who knows? Either way, though, Tom, give us a call. I feel like we may have a lunch, a Bernie Steakhouse afternoon coming up, just like the old days. Set the world to rights, get your head straight, and maybe make a new plan to revive what was a once great career.
Still at number 28, the Bloodhound Gang. Sadly, it's not a gang of bloodhounds. They're all men. American men as well, which makes it even worse. This is called The Bad Touch. Well, I've heard there's been a lot of bad touching going on in the music business over the last few years, and it needs to stop.
Disgusted. Absolutely disgusted. I want to go on record now that I find that sort of thing wrong.
Look, but don't touch.
Look as much as you want. Nothing in the BBC guidelines to say you can't look, mate. Touching, another matter. 27, It's My Turn, by an outfit called Angelic.
Well,
got nothing to say about that.
Well, I don't think it is your turn because you're going down the fucking charts. Down 2 places, number 26, Daphne and Celeste. They're saying ugly. Who are they calling ugly? Themselves? Us?
Well,
I don't know.
I've seen some pictures of them. My internet connection, I used an outfit called AOL. No idea what that stands for. Got a very bad feeling that the A may stand for America, though. So I've been using them for my internet needs, but it's extremely slow. There's some specialist imagery that I've been researching, let's say, in my spare time for a project. And it takes way too long for the image to upload, sometimes up to half a day. So I've managed to use
high resolution, is it?
Yeah, it's a high-resolution image. I like to see as many pixels as possible. So I've gone the old-fashioned route. I still had the account details of the BBC's Library Picture Archive. And so I actually, in preparation for this week's chart, rang them up and asked them to motorbike courier around an envelope full of pictures of Daphne and Celeste themselves. I have the hard copies. I've examined them very thoroughly. And I can confirm they're not ugly, so I can only assume this song was written with a rich dose of irony.
Maybe it is. Well, I'm glad we got to the bottom of that. And I wish them the very best of luck. And hopefully we'll see them in the studio one day for a powwow. I'm not sure if you're allowed to say powwow anymore, but I've just said it. Down 6 places at number 25, we've got If I Told You That by Whitney Houston and George Michael. 2 huge stars, very much at the top of their game. And you know what? I'm going to make a prediction. I think they'll still be singing, performing, touring the world 30 years from now. They're so good.
Role models, both of them.
Jalapeño. Jalapeño.
Number 24, Andrea Bocelli. Sounds like some sort of Italian senorita, would you call her? She's written a song called Canto della Terra, which I believe means Vagina of the Earth, which is an Italian practice for young men who are practicing their sexual skills. They simply dig a hole in the earth and fornicate with it. Their fathers take them out when they're about 11 or 12, and they make them Canto della Terra to make love to. And give them a few tips on speed, rhythm, and so forth. And I think it's great. Certainly my father never gave me any tips. The first time I had to get my leg over, it was absolute mayhem, mate. It was a shit show.
You were literally trying to put your leg over.
I thought you had to put. Listen, I thought you had to put your balls in as well, because that's what a lad in the playground had told me. And the poor woman I was with, who I'll readily admit was a prostitute, I was on holiday in Malta, and
Bognor,
and it was I was 27, and and I was with some lads on a stag weekend in Malta.
You're saying to yourself,
I hired a prostitute.
Enough's enough. It's finally time.
I've got to get out there and learn what's what. I'm a man now.
Put the balls in.
By this stage, even my mother was starting to worry and saying, "Look, son, you've got to do something. You've got to, even if it's a woman of the night, just get the first out the way." So I hired a prostitute, and I remember his name. His name was Alan Pilgrim. A young friend of mine from the school days. I remember as clear as it was yesterday. He said to me, "Just remember, when you do it to a lady, you've got to put your balls as well as your willy in her hole." And I could hear his voice in my ears as I lay down in my hotel room with the prostitute. I could almost hear him whispering in my ears as if Alan was there with me. "Put your balls in." So I attempted to put my balls in, and it was agonising. And she didn't know what was happening. I couldn't understand the words she was saying, but she didn't seem happy. Shouting and gesticulating in the way these foreign ladies do. The whole thing was a mess. And so I just wish that my father had trained me in the way that Italian fathers train their young would-be sexual animals.
Well, I've done some research into Andrea Bocelli, and it turns out he's not only a man, but he's also been blind since the age of 12. So it's fair to say he's never seen a vagina.
Well, of course, a lot of people say that excessive wanking can send you blind. So
maybe
perhaps
that's what it was.
Maybe that was it.
They start them young in Italy.
Wouldn't surprise me in the least. Apparently, that's what did for Stevie Wonder. I heard that from Berry Gordy himself when he was over on a promotional tour in the 60s, and I was working on Radio Caroline. I said, "What's with this young lad Stevie Wonder? Apparently he can't see. What's that, a marketing gimmick?" Berry Gordy turned to me and he said, "That's no gimmick. The boy wanked himself blind before he'd even hit adolescence." He said it's the most incredible thing he'd ever seen. Befuddled doctors all over America.
Oh, God. Down at number 23, Madison Avenue. We seem to have a street in the chart here. It's called Don't Call Me Baby. Oh, yeah, that's been a number one. I've heard that one. It's pretty good. Yeah, next.
Amazed by Lone Star is at 22. I'm not amazed. I've been amazed by anything in years.
No, me either. Don't get excited, don't get amazed.
I was in Morocco once, and I saw a man play a little tin whistle, and he made a snake. The tin whistle seemed to get a snake to come out of the basket and perform some sort of belly dance. Now, that was amazing.
Wow.
But I would say that's the last one. Once you've seen that, it's really hard to ever be amazed again.
Yeah. Yep, same here. I don't get overwhelmed. I don't get underwhelmed. I spend my life in a constant state of whelm.
Just whelmed.
Whelmed. Down at 10, at number 21, Jamelia, and she's saying, "Call me." Well, I've been trying to call you, Jamelia, but it seems that you may have blocked me. If you're listening to this, it's obviously a minor oversight. Just undo the blockage, and we'll recommence with those late-night calls that we were enjoying a couple of years ago.
I had the strong sense that I was calling a landline of Jamelia, and I had a strong sense it was Jamelia herself putting on a voice and pretending to be Jamelia's sister to say that Jamelia wasn't in.
Right. I had something similar. I was getting through to a Chinese laundry. Right. I was pretty sure it was Jamelia.
Doing a Chinese accent, which of course is illegal now.
It's banned.
It's banned. We both got into trouble for that. It's why we no longer get any work on Channel 4. Mind you, those fuckers. They'll ban you just for breathing the wrong way. 20. Oops, I did it again, says Britney Spears. I don't know what on earth she could be referring to.
Yeah, well...
Maybe shat her pants?
Probably, something like that. Just leaves a lot to the imagination, doesn't it? But great song again, great gal.
Welcome here in our studios anytime. Another strong candidate for an all-bar-one visit.
Maybe
get a dish of olives with your drink.
For Britney.
You can get a dish of olives with your drink in an all-bar-one. It costs £4.50.
My God.
In the dish, there will be 6 olives, minimum. Usually 3 black, 3 green. And they give you free toothpicks with which to pick them up. £4.50.
Do they have what's the
money.
door policy? Are you able to smuggle bags of pork scratchings in, or is that persona non grata?
If you're wily, you can do it, but
Or in your shoe?
eat them straight out of your shoe or your pocket. I went there with a young lady, and I just placed my slip-on loafer slap bag in the middle of the table and filled it with what's-its.
Don't mind me, Brittany. Just get the snacks out.
Took 30 seconds for a burly and rather aggressive security guard to come over and eject me from the premises. But I'll tell you this, I didn't fucking go quietly.
This fucking country. Dan 7 at number 19. B15 Project. Sounds like some kind of vitamin injection. Featuring Chrissy D. Sounds like a car thief. They're singing Girls Like Us. Whatever.
Number 18, someone calling herself Pink with There You Go. Well, exactly, Pink, there you go. Someone calling themselves after a fucking colour now. And the girliest of all colours, too.
Down one place at number 17, it's that good old reliable Bon Jovi character.
What a guy.
And he's singing It's My Life. Probably sounds like all of his other fucking songs, but what's wrong with that? They're great.
Okay, they're all great. They're all inspirational. Where are we? Oh, yeah, forgot about Dre. This is Dr. Dre featuring Eminem, a man singing about forgetting about himself.
Early onset dementia.
All I would say there is, Dr. Dre, is don't do drugs, for Christ's sake. You've forgotten about your own self. How could that be possible?
You took so many drugs, your own consciousness has disappeared up itself. Shocking.
Remember Leah Betts, Doctor. That's all I'll say. Remember Leah Betts.
Down 7 at number 15, the Backstreet Boys, who, in spite of what they might sound like, are not a team of male prostitutes. But they're singing The One. And,
number 14, When a Woman, says Gabrielle. Gabrielle, of course, only wanked herself half blind.
Yep. She just used one hand.
The doctors intervened and said, if you carry on like this, love, you're going to be fully blind. You've already lost the sight in one eye. Pack it in. Pack it in.
She did the right thing. She did the right thing. Got herself an eye patch in her career.
7 times a day is way too much. It's bad for your spirit and your eyes.
Down 8 places at number 13, Moby is that bald US irritant with all the buttons and I don't think he's got an instrument. He just fucking programs a computer and noises come out.
Strange little man. Came in the studio jumping around all over the place like a fucking frog. I didn't like it. Made me uncomfortable.
Yeah,
chasing the studio cat all over the place.
I tripped him over, made it look like an accident. Well, here's the scoop. It wasn't. It was deliberate. Fractured his elbow. It's called Porcelain. That's all I've got to say about it.
At number 12, comedian turned singer Richard Blackwood with Mama Who Da Man. It's a street talk for Who Am I Mother? Who am I? Another man who's lost all sight of who he is and needs to ask his fucking mum for answers. If you still turn into her at your age, mate, then you got no hope.
Whack myself senseless, don't know who I am. Just like Dre. We've got a representative here of one of Britain's greatest northern cities. It's York. And they've put together a single. I think the entire population of the city are on it. It's called On the Beach, which is fucking ironic because York doesn't have a beach. The nearest beach, as far as I can gather, is Scarborough, which is one of the towns that I'm currently banned from.
Less we say about that, the better. But
Radio 1 Roadshow gone awry, let's just say.
Radio 1 Roadshow plus activities that could potentially send you blind equals a banning. Shackles at number 10 by an outfit called Mary Mary.
Quite contrary.
Probably is. Most of them are nowadays, since they all got allowed to have opinions and jobs.
Down 5 at number 9, S Club 7, still funking up the charts with their stinking pop. This one's called Reach.
Lovely bunch of girls. 3 boys hang around with them. Completely useless excess baggage. I told that to the girls to their faces. I said, you want to get shot of these 3? One of them looks about 50. One of them looks like a virgin. And I'm pretty sure the other one's smoking the rave drug marijuana. So get shot of them and make it S Club 4, then we'll
Get
talk.
it down it. Call yourself S Girls 4, and then we'll talk.
Yeah. New entry at number 8. It's an outfit called Girl Thing with Last One Standing.
Okay. And another new entry at number 7, Damage, or Damage if they're French, I'm not sure. And it's called Ghetto Romance.
Ghetto Romance, of course, a relationship that happens in a poverty-stricken area of an inner city.
Probably not a lot of romance,
sort of
probably
thing.
mostly fingering.
Have you ever seen two tramps kissing in the street? I have. It was a tender moment in many ways. I was driving home in a BBC limousine from a party at the BBC Club. I was being driven home to my gated community in Surrey. And as I went through the bright lights of London, I saw a man and a woman, not young by any means, carrier bags on their feet. You could almost see the stink lines emanating from them. Looked like they hadn't had a decent meal or a wash since James Callaghan was Prime Minister.
It's horrible.
And yet, in the moonlight and the rain, they embraced and tenderly kissed one another. And I looked at them and I felt physically sickened, mate. And I thought to myself, this is why the homeless should be imprisoned, because it's embarrassing. We're a tourist destination. Just imagine the President of the United States was in town visiting. He saw that.
I've heard a slightly different version of that story. The version I heard, you saw the couple, jumped out of the limousine and offered them £5 if they would kiss in front of you as you danced around them, hopping from foot to foot, shouting, "Kiss, kiss, kiss."
I actually, I happened to have, don't ask why, I had half a bottle of Johnny Walker that I was, okay, well, I'll tell you, I'd stolen it from the BBC Club on my way out. I was planning on having it when I got home to my gated community with some leftover tiramisu that I had left in the fridge. And I was going to watch some late night television. But I saw these tramps kissing. And I wound down the window and I brandished the bottle at them and said, "Would you like a nice warm drive somewhere with this whiskey?" And they both got in the car. And as soon as they got in, I had my chauffeur lock all the doors. And I told him to keep driving. And I said to them, "Right, get kissing now." And they did. And while they did it, I just sat back and drank the whiskey, waited for them to finish their kissing, and then I gave them the last drinks and booted them out down by the embankment, just past Parliament, actually. Put them out near Target Roundabout. Fuck knows where they are now. It was a great night. And I went home and finished off that tiramisu. Beautiful. In front of Question Time.
That story takes us on to the number 6 song, which is Frankie Goes to Hollywood with The Power of Love.
And I've really experienced the power of a particular kind of love that night. Babylon at number 5 by a man called David Gray. Babylon, of course, is a term used by the Rastafarian community to describe our bobbies on the beat.
It's also a description of Gray's method of singing. He babbles on and on and on.
Miserable bastard.
Down 2 places at number 4, Sonic with It Feels So Good. No comment, Sonic.
Depends who's doing it. Number 3, Sandstorm by Darude. Well, if you come round being that rude in our studio, you'll get what for. Kicking the bloody bollocks.
Not sure what
Kicking
that's
the
about.
bollocks. Just a kick in the bollocks, just like I gave to Glenn Medeiros when he turned up here with his airs and graces. Have that, you Greek cunt. Wallop. That'll take you up a couple of fucking octaves.
Down 1 place at number 2. It's last week's number 1. Now's number 2. It's You See the Trouble with Me by Black Legend.
Why does everything have to be about colour? Why does everything have to be about colour these days? You know what is racist? It's racist against whites. White men like us. They're the real victims of racism.
I don't think I'm allowed to say it. I think you've got to be black in order to say Black Legend, but maybe they'll beep it out if need be.
What? Why can't it be White Legend? I tell you why. If you had a song in the charts by a man called White Legend, he'd be banned.
If you had a song by someone called White Legend, it'd probably be David Gray. He was halfway
legend.
between black and white. Grey. Doesn't make any sense.
And at number one, we've got nothing bad to say about this lovely, beautiful, Antipodean people's princess who has filled the hole in our hearts left after the tragic death of Lady Di not 3 years ago in that subway in Paris. And we were bereft and we thought we couldn't go on.
The new people's princess.
And then the people's princess, a woman, a hero, a heroine emerged in a tiny fucking pair of shorts, the sort where you could see the outline of a camel's toe. They're that tight. Doing a wonderful upbeat, up-tempo disco number with her ass fucking practically pressed against the lens of the camera. Glitter everywhere. Wonderful stuff. Spinning around. Kylie, we salute you.
I know, speak for all of us when I say I'd like to spin her around.
Spin around.
Repeatedly.
Kylie,
till she's
Sir,
dizzy.
Arise, Sir Kylie Minogue.
So there it is, that's the chart. We don't have any time to assess it fully. We'll do that next week. Thank you very much for listening and good night.
Good night.